Scorpio. I just remembered. Okay. Immediately distracted. Maybe that's how you feel. Having a hard time focusing. I get it. So, welcome back to Heretic Owl Tarot. If you are returning, thank you so much. And if you're new, thank you so much. I have 10 subscribers to the channel and I'm so pumped. Honestly, I didn't think anybody was going to watch any of the videos that I posted. So I am excited. We're talking about February 2022. I'm using the Light Seers Tarot this month. And before I start the video, I shuffle the deck a bunch and just kind of tune into the light beings and guides and everybody that I hope to work with, and just kind of like calibrate to your energy. And my attention has just been kind of drawn to the cards at the bottom of the split when I shuffle them like that. Which is cool. You know, like I don't generally pay attention to the cards at the bottom of the split. But I'm here for it. I'm all about it. And the two cards that were at the bottom of the split for you was the Seven of Cups and Three of Wands. We're not really taking any cards yet, but that was a strength card. So the Seven of Cups and the Three of Wands. So that just, to me, you know, it's interesting that everybody kind of has this energy of making moves, like really kind of figuring out what's next. And I know, you know, of course it's January and, you know, we all kind of set goals. And if you do that, I stopped doing that a couple years ago. But, you know, it's just, you know, a lot of people do set goals or resolutions for the year, or, you know, it's a good time to reflect on the last year, but also, you know, kind of think about what you want out of this brand new year, right? So the Seven of Cups and the Three of Wands tells me that you have some options and you're weighing your options to kind of really kind of feel into what it is like you do want to do. Like, what direction do you actually really want to head into? So it feels very calculated, as it should be, right? Like, so, you know, we'll just kind of see if that energy comes out in the reading. So we do a 4-card spread. The first card is the current energy. Next to that is any what's blocking you. Underneath is advice for clearing the block. And finally, kind of the energies that we're heading into. I know a quick disclaimer. I know I mentioned last month that I'm going through this throat chakra healing, opening, and it's been a real journey so far. You know, just kind of forcing myself to use my words more than I would have maybe in the past. Really, you know, like kind of being intentional with what I say. But I just, you know, I've been finding myself having to clear my throat a lot more. I've been struggling to find the words, which is not uncommon for me, but it's just even worse. So, forgive me if I'm like kind of stumbling over my words. I'm also asking, for assistance with that. But, you know, if you have or are embarking on any type of, healing, you know, like rest is the most important part. So I've been valuing that and trying to put that as much as a priority as the actual like healing. So all of that is to say that I'm gonna try not to be clearing my throat in your ear, because I know that is annoying, but asking for forgiveness up front if I do. So let's get into it then. So February 2022 for Scorpio. What's the current energy? Current energy for Scorpio. Current energy for Scorpio. Feeling a little shy. Current energy for Scorpio. Oh, I don't think I actually said. I just got this like thing in my head that said you weren't finished. You're right. So, we ask for the card to fall out of the deck. We don't take cards that flip. We'll just flip them over and keep it moving. I don't shuffle reversals into the deck, but if it falls out and ends up in the reverse, we'll keep her in the reverse, because who am I to tell the card which way to be? And, oh, we ask for one card at a time. If two come out, we'll take two, but any more than two, we'll put it back in the deck, because we do want the message to be super clear. So, again, you know, like, I don't know if you guys are just kind of feeling, you know, like a bit distracted or just kind of having a hard time focusing. Because seriously, all of a sudden, I'm just like, what? Oh, it's funny. All right, so now I think I'm done. So let's get back. What is the current energy for Scorpio? I'm sorry, I know we're 7 minutes in. See? I feel like that fell out in the reverse and I flipped it over. Hold on. I have to check the tape. Hold on. Okay, yeah, that was my fault. It did fall out in the reverse. I'm telling you, my OCD. I had to check it. So we have the Knight of Swords in the reverse. And this to me, like the swords talk about moving kind of quickly. I mean, as you can see, like with the upright representation, like he's like running towards this motorcycle to just kind of take off. So there's kind of like a sense of urgency with the Knight of Swords, and with it being in the reverse position, those things seem to not be present. Like maybe there isn't necessarily a sense of urgency, or maybe, you know, like things just aren't kind of coming together for you as quickly as you want them to. And we have the Ace of Swords on the bottom of the deck, which is new inspiration, new thinking. Like, you know, we have kind of this staircase and this kind of flare, this light coming out of her head. So this is, you know, just a new way of thinking, a new perspective on things. So with the two cards at the beginning that I was talking about, the Three of Wands and the Seven of Cups, like, you know, that process may just be moving kind of slow for you. And maybe there's some frustration in that, or not. I mean, you know, like there are times where things are just kind of like put on pause a little bit until we get to this place of new perspective, or just kind of looking at things a little bit differently. you know, like that game of like hot and cold, you know, like you're like getting warm, you know, like hotter, hotter. So I don't like that just kind of like went through my mind too, where, and that just in relation to the Seven of Cups, where you're just kind of like reviewing the options. But anyway, we're talking about the Knight of Swords. And I'm still kind of getting this feeling of like being a bit scattered. I swear, like, um, I'm not sure if this is my energy or your guys' energy. And I'm also like feeling a bit frustrated, like with myself, because I feel like I'm just kind of like jumping all over the place. And again, like even going back to the Seven of Cups, like that's even the energy of the Seven of Cups too, is like kind of jumping around to like, you know, these different cups basically. But with the Knight of Swords, again, like I said, you know, things can maybe just not be moving as fast as you would like. Maybe, you know, you're trying to see things from a different perspective and it's just not quite coming together yet. It was the King of Cups and the Queen of Cups were behind it. And for some reason, I just don't really feel like that had any significance. I don't know why, but it was just kind of like immediately I kind of got this message of like, nope. So I have to go with it, you know? So what is the block for Scorpio? What is a block for Scorpio? Patience. I heard that. We have temperance as the block. I just wanted to say really quick too, you know, when I began this channel, and I know that I just began doing this like last month, but I told myself that regardless of how the message came out or how it sounded, or how I sound, I was not going to delete a message and completely redo it. And I don't know if maybe that has like some sort of significance, because it's almost kind of like all of a sudden, and this isn't the first, you guys aren't the first ones that I've been like kind of totally stumbling over my words, totally distracted, just, you know, having a hard time focusing, blah, 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 you know, all of the things. This isn't the first time that's happened, but for some reason, it seems to be, I don't know, like even more elevated maybe, or amplified. And I did have a thought kind of go through my head, like maybe I should just start this over because I'm not very far into it. Nobody is going to be the wiser anyway, right? Like, how would anybody know? But then immediately I just kind of got this message to share that, again, you know, like I told myself that I was not going to do that because I mean, I could redo these videos a million times. And of course I would probably get like a million different messages, right? But it's even, again, you know, it's part of my process too. So I don't want it to be like just perfect and polished and whatever, because that is not, that is not how the journey usually is. So, you know, like if you're kind of going through a similar situation, and just feeling like, you know, shit is a little messy, I'm with you. I get it. And all we have to do is just keep showing up, right? So we have temperance. And like I said, you know, temperance is a card of patience for me. It's, you know, it takes time to temper things. Like, you know, I always kind of go to like chocolate. But, you know, like there's a certain way of doing things and a certain, you know, there are certain steps that kind of need to be taken in order for there to be a successful outcome, right? And that involves having patience to kind of go through those steps. And if we start kind of skipping ahead, then it could just not work out at all. And we have to go all the way back to square one. So in this depiction, we have the sun and the moon over here too. So it's almost kind of like balancing our light and shadow side also. And maybe there's been either like a struggle in that, or maybe that's just kind of been an energy that you've just been in for a little while. And with it coming up in the blocked position, like maybe you just kind of feel like you're having a hard time coming out of it. We have death at the bottom of the deck. This depiction of it is death and rebirth, because that's, I mean, you know, that's exactly what the death card represents, is, you know, like something is ending, but something is also beginning. So, you know, there's obviously like, there is something that could be, you know, a way of thinking, that could be like, you know, an outlook that you have, a perception, you know, whatever it is, since we have the Knight of Swords on the table already, that needs to end officially, right? And just kind of needs to be cycled out, you know? you know, I feel like these almost kind of represent the same thing. Like I said, the upright Knight of Swords is usually like really kind of fast moving. And I don't ever really feel like Temperance is very fast moving. So, you know, I mean, that could very well be the thing too, if I didn't already say it, that, you know, like maybe things just aren't moving at the pace that you are either accustomed to them moving in, or that you want them to move in. And there is always purpose in that. There's always a reason for that, because, you know, again, like I said, you know, if we're like skipping steps or just not kind of seeing things fully, then, you know, like we could either end up in the same fucked up, shitty, you know, whatever, like position that we were in, or in some new situation that we didn't desire. You know, like sometimes it just doesn't work out that well. Sometimes it does. You know, I'm not saying that, you know, like everything should be, you know, kind of taken slowly. I'm just saying that, you know, like when you start to kind of notice that things are moving more at like a slower pace, there's a reason for that. And there's almost like a level of surrender that we need. We have the Ace of Cups and the Moon for the advice, and the Eight of Wands. So the Ace of Cups talks about basically, you know, like our cup being filled, and really kind of overflowing. The cups talk about our emotions. So, you know, I mean, it's something new coming into our worlds or our lives or whatever, that brings happiness or fulfillment. And the message that I'm getting from this combo is that maybe, you know, like the shift in focus, Like there seems to be like there's something around you that maybe you're just not looking at from a new perspective. The moon talks about the unconscious or the subconscious. I always say unconscious, and that's not the subconscious. You know, kind of things that haven't presented themselves yet. It's also a bit like intuitive. Also, you know, like is always kind of the feeling that I get from that. But you know, and even like I was saying before about like kind of requiring a level of surrender, that's kind of how like the feeling that I get from this depiction of the moon card, because she's just kind of floating in the water. And really, I mean, she could be sinking, but she's not fighting it, right? Like she's not coming back up to the surface yet. She's just kind of surrendering to sinking. But I mean, you know, like you can tell, like it's not like she's scared, or it doesn't look like she's like in any danger. You know, like her face is like kind of very serene and calm. And also, you know, like another message that I'm getting from this too is like really kind of trying to get out of our thoughts and more into our bodies, like more into our emotions. Like, how do we feel about a certain situation? Our thoughts can take us literally anywhere, right? I mean, like they can just snowball into this like bigger thing than it actually really is. But when we really kind of sink down, when we sink down into our bodies and into our emotions, there's generally like clarity there, because, you know, instead of like thinking about all of the things that you want out of a situation, you start thinking about, how do I want to feel in this situation? Like, how do I want to feel going forward? Not, you know, like what are my expectations? What are other people's expectations? What's societal expectations? Whatever, right? But like, it's how do I want to feel in this situation? And you may end up kind of being a little bit surprised. And with the Eight of Wands being at the bottom of the deck, I get this feeling that it's like, you know, kind of once you kind of get out of this mental place and kind of fall into and like kind of really sink into your emotions, like you really get clear on what you want to do. The Eight of Wands is like really kind of fast moving. It's the equivalent to the Knight of Swords in the sense that it's quick moving, but the wands have to do with action and communication. So it's almost like, you know, once you get clear on how you want to feel about a situation, it starts taking off. Like you, all of a sudden, like you just kind of know like what next steps you need to take. Or maybe, you know, like you end up getting communication from somebody that can help you get to wherever you want to go. I mean, that's kind of how like manifestation works, right? Like it's not, we're not putting our mental energy into it. We're not trying to, you know, like plan out every single detail, because that leaves no room for things to actually come together. But if we focus on, you know, how we want to feel in a situation, how we want our futures, whether it's near or far, to feel, then, you know, like that leaves a lot of space for these pieces to come together. And, you know, those pieces may be something that you couldn't have even ever imagined, but, you know, like it works out better than you even think. So again, like I said, you know, once you kind of get into your emotions, something starts moving quick, or maybe, you know, that's just you being more clear on this direction to take. Or, you know, it's like I said, you know, at the beginning with the Three of Wands and the Seven of Cups, like really kind of weighing your options. So, you know, getting into your feelings about it and getting clear about how you do want to feel about whatever the situation is going forward, it really kind of opens a door for things to kind of take off for you, or for you to take off. Whoop. All right. That was my fault. Okay. All right. So what's next for Scorpio? And just one more thing. Look who's showing up at the bottom again. Like I was saying before, like my little tangent about my situation and, you know, like not deleting videos and redoing them because of how they might look, or, you know, obviously like being judged for that. But again, like that's coming from a place of that's coming from my mind, right? Like that's coming from ego, not wanting to be embarrassed, and, you know, saying all these things like, oh my gosh, you know, if I'm like stumbling over my words, if I'm whatever, you know, then, you know, nobody's gonna watch the channel, and what's the point if nobody, blah, 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 all of the things, right? That's all of the stuff that's coming from my mind. But then again, you know, like if I settle down into my body, none of that concern is there at all. So what is next? What's the upcoming energy? Where's Scorpio heading? What's next for Scorpio? Hell yeah. See? Look at this. You kidding me? Yeah. We have the Ten of Cups. Like, hello? The Ten of Cups is kind of the equivalent of the Sun card in the major or the minor arcana. So, I mean, it's, look, you go from the Ace to the 10. And all you have to do is surrender. Like, pfft, hello? Not to mention, you know, I mean, this is very much your energy too, right? Like water. So again, it's getting out of this air energy, like, you know, it's like getting your head out of the clouds, right? And like really kind of sinking back into your own energy. I find it interesting that like all we have here so far is Swords and Cups also. But again, you know, like this whole journey is getting you to this place of contentment, and, you know, like really kind of being able to share your joy or contentment or happiness or whatever it is with other people. The tens are about sharing with others, like it's community or partnership or family. So, and then we have the Two of Swords at the bottom of the deck and the Seven of Pentacles underneath that. Generally, this kind of talks about, you know, like being indecisive and being kind of unable to see a path forward. But with the Seven of Cups, like below it, I'm really getting this feeling, or I'm sorry, Seven of Pentacles underneath it. I'm really kind of getting this feeling of like, you're just almost kind of like blindly like moving forward. You know, the Seven of Pentacles talks about working towards a goal. Like the seeds are planted already. They're already rooted, right? So all you need to do is just kind of tend to them. So this is, you know, like you could be taking on like something like a new, some sort of new training or a new job or whatever it is that needs a little bit of finesse in the beginning. And it's just kind of like you're doing it anyway. Like, and I also kind of get this feeling from this card, like this depiction of this card, that she's kind of shooing these crows away. And it's almost kind of like she's about to take this blindfold off. Because again, it doesn't really look like she's in distress. And, you know, these birds are just like chirping around her. And just, I don't know, like that's the feeling that I'm getting from this. And also how, like, I mean, both of their eyes are, well, his eyes are closed and her eyes are covered. So again, you know, it's almost kind of like I was saying before, you know, like really kind of get clear in how you want to feel going forward. Instead of thinking about how you want your life to look like and thinking about every single, you know, step and everything that you need to do to get there. Fuck that. No, get it, like really get clear on how you want to feel. And it's almost kind of like block the thoughts, like don't even allow your thoughts to start kind of dictating how things are going to go. And then you just start like you start making like little decisions and little changes, because you're like, is this decision going to make me feel better or feel worse? Like, is this going to help me get to my goal, or is it going to keep me in the same place where I am right now? And that's kind of what this is. Like, you know, you're making different decisions and maybe trying something different also. But again, you know, like it's kind of just putting in, it's watering the seeds because they need water to grow, right? And then we have the King of Pentacles behind that. So success, you know, like this is somebody who got the bag and is continuing to get the bag. But, you know, even look how relaxed he is. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there. And that's absolutely beautiful. What a journey. What a journey this reading has been. I love it. I love being on it with you guys. So again, thank you so much for being here, either again or for the first time. And don't forget to subscribe. I would love that. And I will talk to you again soon. Bye.